so welcome back to my channel. If you didn't see my video last week, I am now back, but I will be doing videos every other week as opposed to every week like I sort of was supposed to be doing but never actually really did. And that is all due to the fact that I'm no longer getting to Walt Disney World, which as I'm filming this today I should be on a plane, and now that seat will be empty, but I should be on the way going to Walt Disney World to start my 3 months there once again. However, if you haven't watched my previous video from last week, I no longer am going. And if you haven't, then head over to that and watch that video if you would like to find out what's sort of the updates and everything I've been up to, because it's all in that video for you. But as I say, I am back this week, and I have something that I've sort of done before but in a completely different sort of context, and that is a top 5. I actually really enjoy doing these videos, and I always find it interesting to know whether other people have similar opinions, so if you have similar opinions to what I'm about to tell you, then leave a comment, or if not, let me know your favourites. But this week I am going to be doing my top 5 rides at Walt Disney World. It's going to be slightly different because I'm actually going to include 10 items in this. And the reasoning for that is that Walt Disney World, while still being a theme park, does cater to a lot of people's needs. It's not just sort of a thrills sort of theme park where if you don't like big rides you're never going to go on anything. It really does cater to everybody. There are very slow and relaxing rides, some that aren't even rides, they're more attractions, and then you obviously have your big thrill rides, which is something that I really love. And for this reason I am going to be doing, as the title suggests, my top 5 thrill rides and my top 5 chill rides, which sounds ridiculous, and believe me, I didn't mean for it to rhyme. It just went in my head and I was like, oh, that actually sounds kind of good. So that's what I'm going to be doing for you guys today. So I'm going to start off from my lowest to my highest. I don't know if you'll be able to guess any of these if you've watched any of my previous vlogs. I definitely do go on the majority of these rides quite frequently. Some of them on my own at times. I definitely did do on some of my vlogs from 2015. So you may have guessed these or had an idea, but if not, no worries. I'm going to let you know my top 5. Okay, so I'm going to start with the chill rides first. And as I say, I'm going to start with my number 5. And that would be something that is a little bit newer than the other rides on my list, and it is Fill Our Magic, which can be found in Magic Kingdom in Fantasyland, just sort of across from the Prince Charming Carousel. And the reasoning being for this is that it is a sit-down, sort of sit in a theatre ride. You don't move, nothing like that. It does have a 4D element, so you also have the 3D element and a 4D in terms of the smells that are pumped into the room. One of those being apple pie for definite is one thing I can remember. And also they shoot in the smell of like champagne with the little bottles when they pop in one of the scenes from Beauty and the Beast. It's just a really great one. It has all my favourite songs from all the classic Disney movies, like I was just about to say there, Be Our Guest. It also has songs from Aladdin, The Little Mermaid, so you can't really go wrong with it. It's just a great feel-good ride or attraction, and I always come out of it wanting to go on it again. So that would be my number 5. So moving on to number 4, in a ride that's in the exact same place. It's in Fantasyland of Magic Kingdom, and this one would be Peter Pan's Flight. This one is an older ride than my previous, and for this reason it does have a lot of sentimental value to me. If you haven't seen my Draw My Life video, which I think was my first video I ever did, I have been going to Walt Disney World since I was about 4, and this was always a ride that I absolutely loved as a little child. And even sort of into my teens, I really hated big rides. I don't like the adrenaline rush and things like that. I really don't like the feeling of like that I'm going to throw up or something. So I've never been a massive fan of rides, but as a little child this is something that I always loved going on, and I love the glow in the dark sort of element. There's definitely been some times me and my sister have had a laugh on that ride because your eyes can glow. So if you like stick your eyes up, your eyes glow from the white. It's absolutely hilarious. So for that reason, and not only because I absolutely love the film itself and also Tinkerbell, but I just really do like the design of the ride, and I also really like the new queue, and they put an interactive queue in which has some really great elements to it. I normally fast pass this ride because that is its one downfall. It always is busy, so there's only been one time I've gone in the interactive queue because of the rest of the time I'm always sure to fast pass this ride, and that's something I'm actually going to talk about in next week's next time's video, because it's not going to be next week, it's going to be in a couple of weeks time. But my next video is going to be how to ride all rides in Magic Kingdom in one day, because it's something that somebody has asked me previously, as in one of my vlogs, or in two of my vlogs I think it was. I attempted to do this with my friend Saskia on our last trip. So that's always one of my tips, fast pass that ride, because it is always busy. But other than that, it is definitely in my top 5 chill rides. Okay, so moving on to number 3, a ride that is probably in all your top 5s, I am sure. It is Haunted Mansion. Again, a dark ride, always good to have a nap if you have been around the park all day. I certainly am somebody that goes to the park at opening and leaves at closing, so that's always nice to have a quick sit down, especially if it gets too hot. That's something that I love doing in this particular ride, as it is in the dark. But also I just love its theming element, and that is the reason that it is in my top 3. I love the music in it, I love the film that came from the ride, and I also love the cast members that are involved, because they really do play the part very well, and it is for this reason that that is my number 3. Okay, so moving on to my number 2, one of my favourite chill rides is Soaring. So some of you might put this in the category of a thrill ride, depending on sort of your experiences with the ride, but for me it's in my chill and it is my number 2, because I find it extremely relaxing. Even though you are sort of strapped in and pushed up to the top, and you do move ever so slightly, it's also streamlined and it's just so relaxing and lovely to watch. Personally, in terms of the newer version of Soaring and its older version, I personally enjoyed the older version better, the California ones, because I absolutely love the smell of the pine needles, and that is possibly one of my favourite smells. And I do have a candle that was sort of designed around the Soaring ride, which includes oranges and pine needles, and that is just one of my favourite scents. So for me personally, I liked the original one. However, I have watched this new one and I think the graphic of it is so much better, and some of the places you get to go to, figuratively, are just awesome. So I really do enjoy Soaring and it is a great relaxing ride. And for that reason, it is in my number 2. Okay, so my top chill ride of the whole of Walt Disney World. This is a ride I have been going on probably since the first time I went, and it is something that I have continued to go on and will never ever not go on when I'm in this area. Again, it is in Magic Kingdom, and it is in Tomorrowland this time. And Soaring is in Epcot in the land, if you didn't know. I think I forgot to mention that one. But yes, it is in Tomorrowland in Magic Kingdom, and it is Carousel of Progress. This, again, for me, is a ride that has a lot of sentimental value. I think it's one of my mum's favourites, although I do know that Soaring is also one of her favourites, but I just really love its style, the narration from the main guy in it, its clever idea of sort of spinning around on a carousel, and also just the cool, like, quirky things. I really love, like, sort of old style. I'd love to have lived in, like, the 20s and things like that, or the 60s. So for me, I loved going around it and sort of reminiscing or looking at what sort of eras would have been like, because obviously I was born in the 90s, so I wasn't around then. So for me, it just has a real sentimental value because everybody in my family absolutely loves it, and I have ridden that a million times with my family, but also just because I really do like its style, and I love the fact that Walt sort of created it and it was done for the World Fair, and things like that. I think it is a great Walt Disney World classic ride, and for that reason it is my number 1, and it's also the reason that I have ridden it on my own when I have been to the Magic Kingdom on my own, and that has sometimes been the only ride that I've gone on in Magic Kingdom just because I love it that much, so it really is my number 1. Okay, so that's it for my top 5 chill rides. I'm going to move now on to my top 5 thrill rides. These you might not guess quite as much. I feel like Carousel of Progress is kind of a common one. I'm pretty sure I'm always saying, I'm going on Carousel of Progress now. So these ones might not be quite as obvious, but I'm sure they're probably some of your favourites as well. So let me know in the comments below if any of these are your favourites that I now mention. Okay, so my number 5, which can be found in Animal Kingdom, which probably has already given you a massive hint, is Expedition Everest. As I have got older, I have learned to appreciate the big rides a heck of a lot more, and I now am obsessed with them, particularly Expedition Everest. Although that drop is absolutely massive if you're sat at the back, it really does pull you down, but I have have to say that's actually my favourite spot on the ride, so sitting in the back row, always my favourite. But if you're not quite as big a fan of thrill rides, I recommend going at the front, because then it's a little bit easier going down the big steep drop. But yes, this is my number 5, and it is for that reason, and also for the reason that it goes backwards and makes you feel like you've gone upside down but you actually haven't. That's just a ride that I absolutely love, and I love its theming. Going inside a mountain is awesome. So that is my number 5. So moving on to number 4, again this is something sort of because of my family and the experience and memories that I have on this ride, but my number 4 is Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And this purely is because I have so many laughs every time I go on that ride. It isn't a massive thrill ride, you know, it doesn't have big drops in or anything, it just can jerk you about quite a lot, which is actually rides that I absolutely love. I love being thrown about, even though you would think that's odd considering I used to hate big rides as a child, but for me that really does add sort of a humorous element to it, just being thrown around or going over little bumps when you get sort of jerked forward, that kind of thing just really makes me laugh. And I'm sure if you've seen some of my vlogs when I'm on that, I am just laughing the entire way around, so for me it really is a good fun ride. And as I say, I've had a lot of laughs with my sister on that one particularly. Okay, so my number 3, and one ride that took me quite a while to get on when I was a little bit younger, is Rockin Roller Coaster by Aerosmith. That is in Hollywood Studios, just sort of opposite from Hollywood Tower of Terror. And the reason behind this is just due to its fast element and the awesome music that it plays as you go around. Anytime I hear that song and I'm not sat on that ride, it immediately just makes me think of being sat on there, ready to go, shouting 3, 2, 1, and then just putting my hands up. I absolutely love that ride. I used to be really afraid of it, it used to really freak me out, and it took me ages to go on that ride. I think I had to fast pass it the first time I went on it, and even then I was just panicking for the whole 5 minutes that I was in the queue, and especially initially just that suspense. Again, as I say, I didn't really like adrenaline like rides, and just being sat there waiting for that 3, 2, 1 to go. I'm pretty sure I was gripped onto the bars as much as I possibly could, head right back, but ever since then I've absolutely loved the ride, and I do still get like a little bit nervous on it just waiting in the queue, but as soon as I see that first one go, as I get through the doors after the sort of pre-show, I just cannot wait. I absolutely love that ride, and it is such a great fun ride, so I definitely recommend going on it even if you are afraid, because you will not regret it as soon as that ride is set off. Okay, so my number 2. This one again can be found in Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland. So very similar to my top chill ride, this is my number 2 thrill ride, and it is Space Mountain, of course. This ride I love. Again, as a child, never went on it. Big rides, especially that sort of big round building, just freaked me out. I just did not like the thought of it. But I have to say that I now go on it constantly with my family. It's also good being a 3-seated one, because my mum tends to not go on the ride, so it means that me, my dad and my sister can always go on together, so it's a good ride for that, although it can mean if you've got parties of 2 or 4, you're going to have to get split up into different carts, which can be annoying. But it definitely is one of my favourites. Again, it's in the dark, so you can't see where you're going. It has no big drops, it's just lots of little ones and twists and turns, so it can throw you about quite a bit. I'm quite small though, so I fit into the sort of the ride itself quite well, so I don't find it too harsh on me. And for that reason I am purely laughing the entire way around. I think the first time I ever went on it I found it so funny, just tears streaming down my face. It's not that I found it scary or anything, I just was in hysterics. It is just one of my absolute favourite rides. It really does crack me up, and it was a very close one to my number 1 because of this reason, but again I do have one that is more sentimental to me and something that I've loved for years. So I'll move on to that one now. So my number 1 thrill ride of the whole of Walt Disney World Resort is Test Track. This sort of incorporates everything from the rides that I have loved in this list already. Parts of it are in the dark, it has an extremely fast element to it, you get thrown around a little bit when they do a brake test on you or swerving past a lorry, so it sort of incorporates everything that I love about rides, and I just absolutely love it. My favourite bit definitely is the bit where you get to go outside and the speed picks up, even though I really don't think it's that fast. I think it only goes like 60 or something, but it really does just make me laugh, especially if the wind's going, your hair just goes everywhere, and the photo is always good for that kind of thing. So that really is my number 1 favourite ride. I absolutely love it, and I love the element they add of being able to sort of go against other people within the car itself, to build your own car and hope that it wins all the different tests that they do. So that definitely is a really fun element, and for that reason it is my number 1. So that is it. That's my technically top 10 rides, but my top 5 chill and my top 5 thrill rides. If you guys have any similar ones, or you've got completely different ones that I didn't mention, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to know what your top 5 rides are. But I will see you guys next time, and thanks for watching. Bye!